Hello, everyone. I'm truly excited today. I've got a very inspiring person with me. He's got loads and loads of experience. He's the founder of the Sukha company, a former executive with DreamWorks, 20th Century Fox, Sony Pictures. He's
Mhm.
also a tech expert. He's worked on movies like Die Hard, Wolverine, True Lies, Braveheart, The Independence Day, and I can go on. He's a Hollywood visual artist producer as well. So, truly an honor to have the one and only Stephen Puri with me on this podcast on the new episode. So, first of all, welcome, Stephen. We're going to share some great insights on your journey and about your company and the amazing things that you're doing. So, to begin with, my first question would be, you worked with legendary studios like DreamWorks, Sony Pictures, and the 20th Century Fox. What is that one thing behind the scenes, or lessons, that every entrepreneur should know?
You know, People think about film and often TV because it's somewhat glamorous. And by the way, thank you for having me on the pod. And I'm glad we can share this with people. I hope it's helpful.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is people look from the outside and go, "Oh, this is such a glamorous business." But the thing, once you work inside it is a business. It is made up of profit and loss sheets, balance sheets. Decisions are made about show business, not show art. So that's one of the biggest things is you find new people come to the business like I have this amazing idea. It doesn't actually matter if your idea is amazing. It matters if other people think it's amazing.
Okay. Movies like Independence Day or Braveheart, they are timeless.
Hmm?
What makes a story truly timeless according to you?
Timeless. If you look at mythology, right? Mythology is basically stories that we've told each other for thousands of years, right?
Right.
May have been true at one point, may not, but it's actually not important whether it's true in that way. It's true about life because if it were not, we would not spend thousands of years repeating the stories, right? Whether you're talking about Ram or you're talking about King Arthur, you're talking about,
Yeah.
Perseus, So the thing that makes it timeless is the story reveals some truth about life. How we explain life to each other is through story, to our children, to our spouses, to our friends,
Right.
and it's through that story that they come to understand morals,
Yeah.
values, how to deal with adversity, things like that. So that's what I think is really amazing is when you realize stories are how we relate to each other, the truths about life.
Okay. You've had a tremendous Hollywood career and you were at your peak, but what has a film project, brought your biggest lesson about leadership under pressure?
You know, it is the balance, and I was speaking specifically about being a director, is the balance between having a vision and not being just pushed off that vision by people who are telling you, oh, it'd be better if this wall were blue, if that actor were cast, if the budget were this, if the action scene happened on Mars. Like to be clear enough in your vision to say, no, I know how to stick to it, but also be open to people giving you ideas that might be valuable, which sometimes come in the form of criticism. Oh, I didn't believe that scene where he told his mother this thing. And then you want to go, oh, tell me, why didn't you believe it? Well, do you remember in the earlier scene, it was clear he and his mother don't talk about these kind of things. And then you're like, oh, this is actually a really good note, as opposed to someone just throwing a stone at my head.
Right, right. And if in today's generation, they're very innovative and it's very technology savvy. But if you had to remake, any of the iconic Hollywood films today, for today's generation, what would it be and why?
I think that is what a lot of the current films are. I mean, if you look at Avatar just made how many billions of
Yeah,
dollars worldwide, right?
yeah,
It is the same story of, European colonists coming to the United States, before it was called the United States, coming to North America
right,
and fighting with the Native Americans, like having that whole Pocahontas, John Smith, sort of relationship. So most of these big films today, if you strip out the guns and the spaceships and the aliens and the ghosts, you strip all the genre elements out, they're very timeless stories about a family,
right,
you know?
right. And you know what, Stephen, you've moved on from Hollywood to your own company, the Sukha company. I would
Mhm.
like the viewers to
Yes.
know a little bit, what does Sukha company do?
What I found was more and more people, and this is not shocking, like I think you'll nod your head and be like, of course, right? But more and more people struggle with the distractions of modern life. Like life around us is now designed to distract. You hold in your hand a phone, colors, sounds, vibrations that are just delightful, and you want to open them and spend your whole day scrolling and double tapping, right? You're
Right.
on the computer and maybe you're looking at Reddit or YouTube, and everything is designed to say, hey, Sid, if you have something to do with your life, please don't do it. Instead, just scroll here. And that that is something, my father is from Punjab. He came to this country as an engineer.
Okay.
That is something my father was very clear about when I was young. He said, you're going to have a lot of choices. How are you going to reveal to the world like why you're here? And it is something I believe very deeply, that we all have something great inside us. And the question of this lifetime is not, is it there? The question is, are you going to let other people see it? Are you going to reveal it? Or are you going to go to your grave, or be cremated with that still inside you? And no one will read that book, listen to that. You had the brother sister on, they're doing the bhajan, right?
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Right.
Imagine they decided, oh, we'd rather spend our time scrolling in Instagram.
Yeah.
You would never have those concerts that are almost like raves or like clubbing, sort of experience. What an amazing thing. They said, this is our greatness. We're going to reveal it. Imagine they hadn't, if they were just, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, we're just going to scroll at Instagram. I think that's really hard. So what I do is the people who say, hey, you know what, I want to create that app. I want to run that company. I want to start that restaurant. I want to write that book. We create a flow state website that gives you the tools to get into a flow state, which is that deeply concentrated state where, famous people do their best work. And that's basically what we say is, if you want to do something with your life, we have a tool for you.
What does innovation personally mean to you, when technology changes every 2 months?
You know what? It's You get to a certain point where you realize it's all kind of the same. Like the more it changes, the more it's the same.
Hmm.
So if you realize that most people don't study history, you
Right.
understand why they look at AI, and which usually people mean LLMs basically. And they're like, oh my God, the whole world is going to be upside down. And you talk about, the steam engine, and you talk about cars, and you talk about massive, electricity, the internet. There have been massive, massive technological shifts that somehow we survived through. But not everyone here has studied, how did the steam engine change, the industrial age?
Right. What, according to you, especially the entrepreneurs make mistakes, when building a company?
I've made tons of mistakes. I had one exit and two failures, and it's true. You learn more from the failures because you're like, oh, that hurt. What should I do differently next time?
Right. Through the Sukha company, you focused on productivity and well-being. Why do you believe
Yes.
happiness is a competitive advantage?
Because I think people are arriving at a point where we realize the thing that has us beat LLMs
Okay.
is what we do in deep states, in focused in a flow state, right? Now, here's the deal. LLMs, which most people just refer to as AI, right?
Yeah.
They're very simple. They just go, hey, sit down. I've looked at the entire body of work of what humans have written. So that history of everything that you humans wrote, you want me to write a blog post for you today, or a book, or a screenplay? I can just take the past, extend the pattern, and say, this is probably what you want, kind of reversion to the mean. Like, I've looked at all the screenplays ever written. You want a rom com with these two people, done. So it pulls the past into today. But what LLMs don't do is they don't say, how do you break that pattern and invent the future? And that comes from deep work. That comes from sitting there for a few hours at a time and really coming up with something where people go, wow, like, how did you see that? That's what I think is interesting.
Okay. And do you think, the future workplace will prioritize mental wellness over the traditional success matrix?
I think people are doing it for themselves. You know, people are wired to want more. So that translates to greed. And sometimes that greed is, I'm just going to work harder. I'll earn more money, have a bigger apartment, in Mumbai or New York or whatever, right? Sometimes that desire to have more turns into other ways of advancing your career.
Okay.
What I think is really interesting is people are saying, okay, how do I balance these two so I can have longer careers? Like, I'll tell you a funny thing. I live in Austin, Texas now, right?
Okay.
So in West Hollywood, when I was there, if you'd asked me when I was like 23, 24 years old, hey, you and all your friends that are young executives, who are going to be the next Spielbergs and Camerons? And, like,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, we would have guessed wrong because now I'm in Austin. It's, 20 plus years later. And I'll tell you, we have like the Austin Film Festival, the South by Southwest Festival. And, a bunch of film friends know that I live here now. So when they come and they have premieres, their movies, their TV series, they call me up. Oh, Steven, I'm going to be here. Come to my premiere. It'll be fun to see you, right?
All right.
The ones who are here with the premieres of their movies are the ones that were tenacious, not the ones that were the most talented. They were the ones who said, I'm going to develop something about myself that I can continue forward in a healthy way. I can accept a no. When someone says, I hate your script, I hate your short film, I hate your movie, they don't take it as a judgment on themselves. I'm a bad person. I have no talent. I should just go back to waiting tables, in Idaho, right?
Right.
Instead, they say, what can I learn from this and become better? And those are the ones who are right now making the movies and the TV shows that you're watching.
Right. You've done it all. You've been a part of
I've been very
startups.
lucky. Let's be honest. I've been very lucky so far.
So you've been a part of startups. You've been a producer. You have your own company, and you've been helping so
And
many
I'm a new
people.
dad. I have
Oh,
an 8-month-old son, which is the best part.
congratulations, first of all. I'm a father of two
Thank
daughters
you.
myself, so I know
Oh,
the feeling.
we're going to have a daughter next year.
Oh,
My
wow.
son is Satish, and my daughter's gonna be Satya next year.
Oh, lovely. I want to just know this also, personally, what are the habits, which has actually helped you, personally to remain creative and productive throughout your
Oh,
career,
that's such a good question. That is
throughout your
such a good
career.
question. I wished more people asked that question. So here are things that I've noticed. And I'm going to give you some examples from film because it's always more memorable when you're like, oh, that's how Ron Barry. So when I was a young punk getting out of USC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting into Hollywood, everything's so exciting. All the famous people around, you're like, oh my God, I'm 22 years old. So there was this very established screenwriter named Ron Bass.
Okay.
Rain Man, My Best Friend's Wedding, like all these movie stars. Julia Roberts has been in his movies, Tom Cruise, and he was famous for not talking to his family in the morning. He
Okay.
would get up, not say good morning to his wife, not say, hey, who wants pancakes? Who needs a ride to school? Nothing. He would go to his study and work. And he explained this to his family. He said, when I start talking with you, I can't hear my characters in my head anymore. And that's what I get paid for.
Okay.
And of course, his family is like, Dad, you're making $2 million a script. We can make the pancakes. You go write the scripts, right? So it was very interesting because the phenomenon that he understood was chronotype. And this is something I want people to remember. Chronotype is the idea that you are better at certain things at certain times of day. In Ron Bass's case, from 5 to 9, 10 in the morning is when he wrote those characters that would get a Tom Cruise to say, yes, I'll be in the script, or Dustin Hoffman, right? That was his thing. He knew that was his time to do that. So this is what I encourage everyone listening to do is if you believe you have something great inside, if you are striving to do something with your life, one easy thing is map out for a week or two what you did morning and afternoon and just how you felt. Oh, I worked on my engineering debugging. Da, da, da. Oh, I worked on blog posts this morning. Oh, I did my website. And just jot down like a happy face or a frowning face next to it. Very simple, just morning and afternoon, 5 days, 10 days. You'll be surprised. You'll see the pattern. And you're like, man, I should always be writing my blog posts in the afternoon. I should never be debugging code in the afternoon. And that is one easy hack to do better.
Got it. I want to know this also, if your life were a Hollywood film, what title would it be?
Probably okay, so my life has had a series of very lucky incidents, right? Where I believe, once I got in the door, I worked hard to make something of it. So it's almost like Forrest Gump like in that I happened to be involved in digital film right when digital exploded. We did the digital effects for Independence Day. We won the Academy Award, which is amazing, right? And then I got into film, where I decided I wanted to not just make the computer generated part of the film, but could I put together a whole film? Could I become a studio executive? Worked hard, but let's admit it, some lucky breaks. Ended up, executive vice president at DreamWorks for Alex Kurtzman, at 20th Century Fox, vice president running Die Hard and Wolverine. And here I am going, wow, I'm the guy overseeing the next Die Hard movie. I
Right.
grew up watching the Die Hard movies, right?
Yeah.
So I would say it's probably Forrest Gump, and that lucky stuff just happens to me.
Lovely. Um, was there a particular mentor or some life experience, which actually shaped Stephen Puri?
Two really stand out in this context of being creative. When I was graduating from the University of Southern California, right? I was not in the cinema TV school. They probably have the best cinema TV school in the world. I was not in it. I was in journalism, and business. However, I went to one of my professors and I said, hey, I think this film thing is interesting. While I'm still in school, maybe I could get a job doing something in that area and just learn about it. He introduced me to a guy who became my mentor. He was like my big brother, Greg Cassidy. And he had been the head of promo for two of the networks here in the United States. He started his own company with a friend of his, and they were known. Do you ever see that show Mad Men? You heard
Yeah.
of Mad Men? It was about advertising executives. They
Right.
were kind of Mad Men of Hollywood. They could look at a movie, a band, a TV series, tell you exactly how to market it, to whom you should market it, what channel. They just have that golden gut. And Jeff took me under his wing. Greg took me under his wing. It was amazing working for them because we would go to meetings at the studios, and then on the drive back, they would debrief me. They're like, "Do you understand exactly, what Barbara was saying? This is the coded message she was sending about what they need for this next Will Ferrell comedy, blah, blah, blah." Right? So that was number one, huge in terms of understanding how meetings work, how the studios think. The second was really about story. And that's when we talk about mythology, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Alex Kurtz and Bob Orsi. I went to work with them at DreamWorks. And I will tell you, by the end of 4 years there, I realized how much I did not know when I started with them. They were two writers who just loved story, and you could sit with them for hours and they would understand the smallest nuance of stories that you knew and explain why that worked in the context of the larger story. So I think about the first day I started working for them, thinking I knew what I was doing. I did not know what I was doing. It's like you go to play, Wimbledon, and you're like, hey, I'm on the court at Wimbledon. And then later you're like, oh my God, I was playing against Djokovic. Like I had no idea what I was doing. But that's how you get better, by playing with people who are better than you.
All right. So I'm going to come to a fun segment. This is the rapid fire round. This is going to be just to know you more personally and quick
Let's do it.
answers from your side. So the first one would be, one actor you wish you had worked with.
Um, Good question. I worked with a lot of action actors, obviously, because the movies I did
Yeah.
were the Schwarzeneggers and the Stallones and the all those. I never worked with George Clooney, and my friends who worked with him or for him always spoke very respectfully about him. They always said he was really like a gentleman, and that's rare. Like when I worked with Hugh Jackman on the Wolverine, like he is a top drawer star, thoughtful, kind, well spoken. Like you can still be classy and be successful.
One startup founder you admire the most.
I'll tell you, my current company, the Sukha company, a happiness company, right? It is a flow state app. It is an app for people to say, I want to go spend 2 hours, do something amazing, right? Now, it's a very small company. This is something that I'm doing out of passion.
All right.
I don't know if you have this in India, but there is a founder here who started a company for pantyhose.
Right.
Her name is Sarah Blakely. She was like one of the first female self-made billionaires, right? And she started out by saying, listen, there are huge corporations in this space. They're all doing the same thing. I'm going to do something different. And she built $1 billion company out of that. I have great respect for how tenacious she was and how willing to take risks she was.
One movie every entrepreneur must watch. I'm getting you to think, huh? I thought this was going to
No,
be quick.
is it really good? Because I was watching the trailer for the new, Facebook movie, and I was thinking about Aaron Sorkin's, Social Network, right? But I don't know. It's a great movie for a founder to watch because it's just it's more about how Mark is kind of a misanthrope and just
Okay.
hates people, but made this thing about connecting people and the irony of it, right? I would actually say this. There is a TV series that Mike Judge did. It's called Silicon Valley. It is so realistic, but so funny.
Right.
It is a great way to understand how Silicon Valley works with laughs. It's so realistic. You watch it and you're like, I've been in that meeting. The meeting they're making fun of, I know exactly that meeting.
Right.
And it is it's a great primer for how Silicon Valley works.
Okay. And one piece of advice for someone, dreaming of making it in Hollywood.
Oh, I'll tell you, this is for anyone dreaming. First thing in the morning before you touch your phone, think of the one thing that you could do today that would move your life forward. Okay. So not 10 things, not a whole laundry list of things, not takes 3 months to do. I'm going to go write my book. You're not writing a book today, right? Think of the one thing that you could do today that would move your life forward, and do not go to sleep until you've done that. If you repeat that for a month, you'd be astounded how different your life is.
Complete the sentence, success to Stephen Puri is
Freedom.
one motto you stand by.
Oh, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Okay. Um, if you could leave behind a message for the next generation of dreamers and creators, what would that be?
Don't die with your greatness inside.
Okay. In one sentence, how do you unmute the world? Yeah, I mean, it's like today, if you want to, yeah, you can hear. If you want to, hear stories or hear anything about anyone, inspiring, what is it that in one sentence you can do to unmute
Oh,
the
let's
world?
go to lunch with friends.
Okay. One holiday destination you've dreamed of, but you've not got a chance to visit.
Venice.
Okay. What is the one big difference between the millennials and the Gen Zs of today?
I think there is a cynicism and a fight against cynicism
Okay.
that is really hard. And I know in India, there are issues with how the government works. In the United States, there are issues, and I don't want to be political,
Yeah.
but it is hard to be an idealistic young person right now.
Right. If today you have to, if a young 20-year-old Stephen Puri is across the table, what is that one thing you would say to him?
Care less what people think.
Okay.
You'll make more mistakes, but you'll move faster.
Okay. What is that one legacy you would like to be remembered by?
My kids.
Okay. And I want to know, is there a particular message that today people watching us you'd like to tell from your side? You've had a successful career, you've done so many things with your life, but today people talk about brands, they talk about successful entrepreneurs, but no one knows the hustle behind success. What it takes to build a brand, what it takes. People give up very easily, and they take to other
Mm-hmm.
means as well. If they have a failure, they take to other means, especially the new generation of today. So, what is that one message from your side, an inspiring message or anything positive from your side you'd like to tell them?
Well, it goes back to the story we talked about. The people that I expected in my 20s to be the great figures today, I would have been wrong. My whole friend group, who were like picking winners, we would have been wrong. That tenacity, the ability to say, I have a vision, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to learn from obstacles, not stop. That, that right there.
Okay.
There's a good book that Ryan Holiday wrote called The Obstacle is the Way.
Right.
And it talks about how to like embrace the obstacle and say, okay, I thought I was going to the market. There's a huge boulder in the path.
Right.
Maybe I'm not going to market the way I think I can, but what do I learn from this boulder? And it's really cool.
Okay. And my last question for today would be, I believe in women empowerment. I like
Mhm.
talking a lot about women empowerment, and especially the people who work from homes, that women, young entrepreneurs, young women who
Hmm.
want to make a career out of themselves. And things are changing, especially in India. All the women are trying to be independent. So,
Hmm.
what are the kind of attributes one must have if they have to start their own startup? And because we have a lot of talent in the country, but no one has a great platform or a new way of starting it out. So, what is that one thing or some things you've experienced, or you've seen different kind of women who probably, who are successful? You can talk about them and give
Oh,
them an inspiring message.
it is so simple. I see the successful ones develop a focused practice. They know how to block out their calendar and say, hey, every day from 9 to 11, I do the deep work. I do the work that moves my company or myself forward. The ones that fail are the ones that are always telling you about what's in Instagram or what's in TikTok, what's in Facebook.
Right.
They go nowhere.
Okay. So, thank you so much for that wonderful message, Stephen. It was such an inspiring time chatting with you,
It's
across the
super fun.
globe.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, across the globe, and it's gives us just gives an open audience and the global reach, where everyone can hear us today. And
Mm-hmm.
technology has made it so easy for us to do this kind of chat with you. So it's been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to have you on this new episode with me today. And I
This has
hope
been
to
great.
see,
I hope
and I
everyone
hope
listening enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I hope to see you on the other side whenever I'm there in your country. So, look forward to catching you in person, and yeah,
That would be
um,
great.
it'll be great. So,
Okay.
thank,
Bye, everyone.
thank you once again. Take care. Bye, Stephen.